Hey, Crystals and Annette.
Hello.
Oh, and Steve. Hey, Steve.
Well, it's both of us actually.
Hello.
All right, I'm going to post really quick and remind people to jump on. I already have 7. That's amazing. You guys are on timers.
Here, I can stop screen sharing for now. I just wanted to make sure it was working. Hi, Abby.
Hello.
So, you guys, our special guest is Crystal.
Abby, what shirt are you wearing today?
Oh, not that, not that one. It's just a gray tank top. We both have gray on and little white headphones.
Oh, well, see, we do still match quite a
Me
bit.
too. Hold on, let me put my necklace on.
I could find my glasses really quick, but I already have my contacts in. But they totally match.
You have glasses? What?
And I almost never wear them. They hurt my head.
Oh my word! Look at you.
That is hilarious. Hold on,
I
I
only
can't put my
wear
shirt
them
on
like
if I need
late
to.
at night when my contact's out. But yeah.
I've never seen that
That's so
before.
funny.
Very cool. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start with announcements so then we can move into Crystal's portion where she's going to inspire us all. No pressure. Oh, thanks. Sammy's bringing me the cord. Like she was supposed to on her birthday. You know how children can be.
Amazing listeners.
You have different children than I do. Moments. They all have moments. Okay. So what do we have going on? So first of all, today's Wednesday. We're done with April. That's very good news. I hope everyone's in agreement with me there. Or not. Some people enrolled a lot of people in April. Everybody enrolled a lot of people in April. That was great. But yeah, it was a little weird volume-wise. So that's okay though, because we have amazing specials this month and it's already way better than it was last month. What do we have coming up? For educational wise, we've got the NASPOM thing is coming up on the 9th with pregnancy and childbirth and beyond. And that's in Winston on the 17th. And then there's a whole list of places. It's also in Hickory and Galax and all kinds of things. So figure out what you're closest to and go and bring people. Those are great. And we're going to start doing a little bit of business at the end of them. So we've sort of talked about doing that, but I think we're going to be firmer about that in May and maybe even determine the topic that we're going to cover. Crystal, have you determined a topic for May? I haven't. We haven't discussed that yet, but okay, we'll figure out what that topic is going to be.
The rotation I had just had like intro to business and getting started as the first one.
Okay.
So I figured I'd start with that, like making a names list and getting your business jump started, that kind of stuff. So we can talk more about it though.
Okay, cool. I like that. All right. So then the next thing is we have a business training at the NASPOM on the 18th. So we're going to go over a lot of the share success stuff, just kind of briefly overview them and talk about how to fit them in. I've been doing more with the launch guide and I like it a lot. I think it's very simple and easy to follow. So I mainly just wanted to introduce you guys to those things. And then we'll probably do a follow-up, more extensive training in June or July on those products, and then just some other things for local people to keep people inspired through the summertime. And then also that night, there are a few seats left available at yoga. I don't want to deter anyone from coming to a business, but it's yoga with live music and essential oils in Curtisville. And I wish I could be there too, but I can't be. So, and then May 24th. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, is that the same essential yoga or is this a different one?
There's yoga aromatherapy, that one.
I think the one I ordered the book about.
It doesn't come from that book specifically. I'm not sure what she's going to do with the yoga, but she'll somehow incorporate the essential oils. I don't know if she's going to be following something from that book or not.
Okay, thank you.
But she does do those classes regularly. I'm pretty sure on Saturday mornings. And we're doing one again in June on a Wednesday, if that makes sense. the evening like we did before. Okay. So then May 24th is the spring tour. And you better be there or be square. And we had, even though it was a rough month in, whatchamajigger, April, I can never remember the order of months. And you should have all been on me with my last webinar when I couldn't remember what 3 times 9 was. That was a little embarrassing. And it's recorded, so it's there for all of time. But rank advancements, I wanted to talk about rank advancements for last month because there were some biggies. It was very exciting. Some people who overcame even the difficulty of whatever April is, some kind of like a little black hole in the month or in the year. But there were a lot of rank advancements to executive and elite, and a bunch to director and downward, but we're going to start at executive, so we aren't here all night. But Meredith Renoir hit executive, Janet Young, executive, Lisa James, executive, Pat and Brandy Davis hit executive, Katie Hayes hit executive, Karen Painter executive, Angela Cheek, and Donna Boone all hit executive. That's huge. It's really exciting. Executives are sort of like the backbone of our business. And it's really the first step towards those bigger goals. So very exciting. Laura Easter and Rick Compton and Aaron Blakely hit elite, along with Kimberly Stolarick, Denise Wason, and Betty Demers. So that's elite is a very exciting, it's a big step for a lot of people. So very excited. And then we had 1 premier, Sarah Muncie, and 1 silver, Sue Blaylock, who was also our top enroller. So she got busy and really wanted Rose and Jasmine. And she's also working on Cancun. So that's pretty cool. And it's very smart of doTERRA to overlap those things. I mean, come on. So then for enrollers, which were insane, these numbers always just shock me because while we've had like 1 really good month where we got like 10 enrollments one time, some of these people do it over and over. I don't know how they do it, but like 11 and 13, that's crazy. So Sue got 13. Sue Blaylock got 13 enrollments last month. Heather Ulrich got 11. That's crazy. Stephanie Quintera had 9. Karen Painter had 9. Amanda Paris had 8. I'm sorry. Annette and Steve had 8. And then Aaron Blakely, Carolyn West, and Janet Young all had 7. I mean, these are huge. And honestly, I wish I could list out all the people who just had 1 enrollment because it doesn't seem like nearly as big a deal. But sometimes that first enrollment or 1 enrollment a month is an even bigger deal than 11 all at one time. So anyway, I was just really excited that you guys took advantage of the specials that were out there and did that because enrolling is the hardest part, getting people to sign up. So anyway, without any further ado, Crystal is going to talk with us about our doTERRA opportunity and whether people are choosing it as a career or as a calling and what that difference is. And she's, of course, very inspirational and will have a lot of good inspiration to share with us. So, all right. Thanks, Crystal.
You're welcome. I hope my internet connection stays stable. And if it goes in and out a little bit, or my voice goes in and out, just let me know. And I won't be able to see the chat. So you'll just have to say, hey, Crystal, move to a different spot or something. I think I'm in a good spot right now. So. All right. So yeah, Lacey and I talked about what I should share at her elite retreat. And this topic came up. It was a topic we discussed some at the leadership retreat also in February. And it was really well done there. And it really made me think, why does this matter? What is the difference between this? And, I just love for people to treat their business like a career. Do I really care if they treat it like a calling? And I know for me, for Lacey, it is a calling and we know that. And it has made a lot of difference on the days that are hard or the months that are low volume to keep us going. So that's why we're going to talk about this. And I'm a word person, so if you don't know that, I have my degree in English and worked as a journalist before having children, BC. So I love digging into these things when I'm asked to speak on a topic, and a couple of these things were telling to me, partly because, at the beginning of my business, I really wanted it to be a hobby. I didn't think of it as a business for quite a while. And I treated it like a hobby, not a business, for several months. And it wasn't until I started really applying some of the basic disciplines of the business that I saw some of the big harvests, the big fruits. And, there's no big harvest without some hard labor. But when I got to that point where I started to treat it like a business or like a career, it grew slowly to me. It was a process where then it became what I saw as a calling. So vocation comes from the Latin verb vocare, and that means to call. The definition suggests that a person is kind of listening for something that calls out to them. So your calling is really your passion project, something you genuinely care about. You don't get tired of doing. Even though you might be exhausted, you're not tired of doing it because you love it to push through that exhaustion. And at times you feel like maybe you're even obsessed, and you know that this is your purpose. A career, on the other hand, is just a long-term, consistent job. The Latin word for career originates from carreria, and it just means a road for vehicles, which is interesting that we use the word or the term career path because it's very fitting. So it's usually associated with a very particular occupation. And when career and calling happen to converge, we usually say somebody got lucky, like, wow, they just are so lucky. They get to do what they love, and they're so passionate about what they do, and they get really fulfilled by what they do for a living with no regrets for the amount of time or effort it might take to do the job really well. So, I don't believe in luck. I believe that luck really is when preparation meets opportunity. That's what we call luck most of the time. And we don't see the preparation. We don't realize the true opportunity. And we say that it's luck, but there's really no such thing, especially in a business like this. So I felt like this quote by Marianne Williamson put it really perfectly. Jobs come and go, but a calling is something you were given the moment you were born. You can lose a job, but you can't lose your calling. So my question to everybody is just, are you using your unique gifts and abilities to make a positive difference in the world? And are you fulfilled by what you're doing? And I encourage you just to ask, what is my passion? And maybe even journal about it or take some time and reflect on that, because a lot of times when we grow up and we become adults and we have to do adulting, and it's really hard, and we have all the bills to pay and all the children to raise and whatever else is going on in our lives, even if we're single and don't have children, just the bills and the work and all of the things we're expected to do, we might lose sight of our passion, especially if our career does not fall in line with what we're truly passionate about. It's just something that we do to pay the bills. So do you even know what you're passionate about anymore? And if it's not the case for you, I really encourage you to get those dreams off the shelf and dust them off. It's time to remember what gets you excited enough to ignore some exhaustion, to overcome some fears, and to learn to hope again. Just that hope that life really can be fulfilling, not just draining, that you can thrive and not just survive. The belief that you can truly live can really get you up in the morning and keep you going and keep you pushing through when there's obstacles and things that are hard. So it's only been, for me, it's a few years to build to this point where we are living out our dreams. And for those of you who don't know, we are living in an RV and traveling the country. We're back in North Carolina, and now we have been for a month and a half or almost 2 months. It's wonderful to be back. We're loving it and staying longer than we thought we would because we just can hardly pull ourselves away. But we loved traveling the country, and my husband has loved the freedom of not having to have that job tying him down. And so it's amazing to see what a difference it can make in your life when you truly begin to see what you're doing as a calling and you live out of that passion. And, there's that saying, everyone dies, but not everyone lives. And I want us all to be people who really live, to purpose ourselves to live in that way with minimal regrets. And I don't remember the exact quote now, but Mark Twain said something about, you'll live to regret the things you didn't do more than the things that you did. 20 years from now, you're going to regret the things you didn't do more than the things that you did that maybe you think you regret most right now. That's what you're going to look back on. So just think about this. Sit back and just think about this for a minute, whether you're live or watching this on a recording. You might even want to jot some things down. Let it be a mental activity first, though, before you write anything down. What do you love to do? What makes you light up? What is an activity that totally enraptures you to the point that you even lose track of time? What is an activity, when you're in a bad mood, what healthy activity makes you feel better? I had to throw the word healthy in there just in case, there's some unhealthy things we could choose. But what are some healthy things that actually do make you feel better? Maybe it's your oils, or, getting out and taking a long walk or hike or something, or any kind of healthy activity. For some, it's art, just a natural release for you that really helps you to feel better. What's something you could talk about for hours? What do you love to learn about, even if you're not getting paid to learn about it? You just would stay up late at night learning about it anyway because you're passionate about that. And what are some things people ask you to help them with? So that can kind of help you unearth, unveil your passions and what makes you tick. A few more things to ponder. I want to ask you, do you believe that you are a gift, that you were put on this earth for a reason at such a time that's just perfect for your life to be used to bless others, to help, to contribute to the world, to society, to your family, to your neighborhood, your community? You need to know that. You need to believe that you are. And a lot of what we do in doTERRA that helps us to become successful is belief work. And we go back to limiting beliefs, and we need to undo some beliefs that we've learned along the way in our lives, maybe that we've been told or that we've told ourselves. Maybe we're not enough, or we're inadequate, or we could never be successful, or anything along those lines. We need to listen to what we're telling ourselves, listen to the thoughts in our head, and don't allow those negative thoughts to keep replaying. It's like a bad cassette tape that just keeps going over and over and over and is wearing out, and you're just letting it play over and over. And you need to rewrite that. You need a new recording. You need an MP3, right? Not a cassette tape. So know what makes you tick, know what you need to unbelieve, and believe that you're a gift. Believe you can become the best version of yourself, no matter what has happened to this point, no matter where your business is, no matter what's happened in your life. Believe that you can take responsibility and make it better from this point, that you can become who you're meant to be and the very best version of yourself. And strive toward those things that are calling out to you. Share who you are with the world, because you truly are a gift. And this takes us into what our why is. You'll hear us talk about that a lot in our business. It's important to know your why and know how your business can help you fulfill your calling. Because for some people, maybe their calling doesn't have a lot to do with doTERRA. Even though for me, helping people find wellness, I think for most of us, helping people find wellness, helping people find financial freedom, that can become a calling. But maybe you also have a calling to build an orphanage in Africa, or to start an art clinic, or teach piano lessons, or all these different things it could be for you that you're not able to do right now because you're so tied down working 60 hours a week or something. And so doTERRA can give you the freedom to pursue other creative things or other pursuits in your life that are your true calling as well, because it gives you the time freedom and the financial freedom to dream really big. But your why has to be bigger than your excuses. And you will hear us say that a lot, or at least you'll hear me say that a lot. Your why has got to be big. And if you need to maybe get together with your upline, some sidelines, some team members, make some vision boards, and really dream about where you're going with this business and why those obstacles are not going to be things you're going to let stand in your way. You're going to look at that obstacle and say, you are not going to be the thing that keeps me from reaching my why. My why is too big. I'm not stopping here. And your why is going to be unique to you. It can be as unique as there are the number of people on earth. It's going to be different for each of us. And we have a worksheet, the Find Your Why worksheet, that comes from the Share Success. And that's a great worksheet to go over. I'm sure Lacey can send that out to everybody with the recording. It's something that we've talked about at the different retreats and meetings that we've done. But the main thing is, your why doesn't have to be the same as mine or Lacey's or anyone else's. There's no cookie cutter why. If you don't love the same things we do, that's okay. Not everybody wants to homeschool. Not everybody wants to live in an RV and travel around the country and hit like 40 states in 10 months. That sounds crazy. Not everybody even wants to quit their job. And I totally respect that. If your job is your calling and you love it, and you don't want to quit that, or maybe you want to still do it part-time because you've invested a lot of time and passion and energy into that, that's great. That's not going to be the same for everybody either, but your business can still be the vehicle that takes you to the destination we're all trying to reach, and that's living a life of purpose that's true to ourselves and our calling. So maybe that means having enough time and energy and money to go on mission trips with Healing Hands or with other mission organizations, or just being able to stay home with your children during their formative years while also getting to help others live healthy lives. Maybe it's freeing yourself from a job, or maybe not you, but your spouse, freeing you from debt. That is huge. When you're out of debt, we're more free to give and more free to live life on our own terms. I know people who want to start holistic health centers in the community, or they've started farms like Lacey to sustain their family and share with others around them, and those are awesome. So those are just a handful of examples, a lot of them from our team directly. And I encourage you to take that, find your why worksheet, take like 5 to 10 minutes and get it started and see what that is for you. And then we're going to talk about and think about how we get there from here. So you got to treat your business like a business, not a hobby. Hobbies cost you time and money when you have some extra time and money, when you have some to spare. But building a business can't just be done in spare time when you have some extra time and money if you really want it to profit. If you want it to be a hobby that costs you money, or if you maybe even just barely want to make up the cost of your oils and you're happy with that, then great. But I don't think people who are taking the time to watch this or be on this live are in that category. Building a business is going to take some intentional working hours and consistency. It's going to take some time and money that you maybe would rather not spend, and you're going to have to do some daily disciplines, do things that maybe you don't even like to do. And one day you're not going to have to do those things, or maybe you'll begin to like doing them, or maybe you will be able to pay someone else to do them. There's all kinds of different options, but either way, you've got to push through those, and you've got to do the hard things first. So again, sometimes this is going to feel like a job or a career because you may not love every single aspect of it. You may not love paperwork or dealing with team drama. We have no idea what that's like, right, Lacey? Or you might not like certain parts of things that you just have to do. Follow-up is a big one that people tell me. But you can learn to love that. You can see the results from it and realize these people do want what I have to offer, and I have something that's going to change their lives and help them. But it may not be the right time for them yet, and I'm going to keep following up and keep doing my part, and I'll start to see the rewards of that. So there are some things that you're going to have to do that you may not love doing, like making phone calls and things like that. And I encourage people to do those first. Focus on income producing activities. If you're having a hard time with time management, schedule blocks of time on your calendar that are for income producing activities, like teaching classes, like giving out samples, doing a team training maybe, and things like this. Personal development are huge, even though they don't seem to produce income immediately. These are income producing activities because it's building up yourself, and the better a person that you are, the more you'll have to pour out to your team. The more you pour into yourself, that will pay off. But schedule your classes and calls and follow up and those things first. And then if you want to organize your oil drawer to be all cute and color coded, like do that after 9 o'clock or when it's too late to call people. Do those things that are not income producing in hours when you can't really contact people if possible. All right, so you'll have to figure out what you've got to give up. You're going to have some sacrifices. You were already filling up 24 hours a day before you ever heard of doTERRA. So what are you going to say no to temporarily to make time for this? And remember that it is temporary, that you have to give up some things. And sometimes it's going to seem like you're giving up the very things that you wrote down for your why. Like maybe for your why, you said, I want to spend more time with my family. But in order to do classes, I have to give up time with my family to go out once a week or whatever and teach a class. That seems like a paradox. That's just not, adding up in my brain, and it's not logical. But you have to realize that you will have to give up some things now to get what you want later, and it will pay off. So give this your full attention for that intense building season. And I really feel like the more attention you give it and the more intensely you choose to build quickly, the shorter that time period is going to be. Now, not everybody can do that, but I do kind of think of it as like just rip that Band-Aid off quickly if it's going to be difficult because you've got that season where you're sacrificing a lot. Do it as fast as you can and be those people who are enrolling 10 or 12 people a month. But like Lacey said, if you can't do that, that's okay. Just do consistently something that's income producing, that's building your business, that's helping serve others. And remember that you're going to be a leader, and you want to be a leader others will want to follow. So again, that personal development is key for this piece. Others are watching, and most people won't do more than what you're doing. They're going to follow your lead. And even the really committed business builders will do just a little bit less than you are because they see you as the leader who's doing more, at least at the beginning. And there are some rare exceptions, but for the most part, you can't really ask your team members to do things you're not willing to do yourself. All right, a couple of Steve quotes here. If you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you, from the late Steve Jobs. And your career is what you're paid for. Your calling is what you're made for, from Steve Harvey. So when your passion and your purpose and your paycheck can coexist and unite on the same career path, and yes, that really is possible, the way you can think of it is where the world's need and your unique gifts collide, that's where your purpose is. That's where you belong. That's really that sweet spot. And you can find it through your doTERRA business, whether the business itself is that calling you've been looking for, or it's that vehicle that allows you to have the time and financial freedom to do some other things that are in line with your true calling. Make a way that your purpose can pay your bills, and then keep paying to the point you're able to pay it forward and help the world around you. I believe any of us can find that through our doTERRA businesses. And I know for me, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm living. It is such an honor and a privilege. And I have to pinch myself some days. Like, this is my life. You know, it just started with exploring natural remedies for holistic health. And I found myself obsessed and longing to find more time learning about and staying up late learning about this. And I confided to a few close friends that, you know, if I could do anything, I wish I could just go back to school and I'd be a nutritionist or a naturopath or something. But at the time I had 3 small children, 4 and under, and that was not in the cards for me. And we had bills to pay, and you know, I just didn't think that was going to happen. And then I discovered doTERRA, and again, it was just a hobby at first, and then something I felt really responsible, like convicted to share with people, because I saw such amazing results for myself, and some of my closer friends that I first introduced to doTERRA were seeing amazing results. And then I realized, oh, this could be part of my calling. Like, it just kind of clicked. I think I should have probably seen it sooner, knowing that I had that passion for natural health, and I love to research and things like that. But that's the path that it took for me. And I love hearing all the different stories and how this grows for each of us. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Gabrielle Bernstein: allow your passion to become your purpose, and it will one day become your profession. And again, that's what I'm living out and working 15, 20 hours a week most of the time, getting to still be able to homeschool my children, freeing my husband from a job that kept him away from us 2 weeks out of every month. And then the weeks he was home, working 60 to 70 hours a week. And so this is what it was for me. That was my why. And it became something I was so passionate about. And I realized this is my purpose. It's fulfilling who I'm supposed to be. And it became my profession, my calling. So that's what I wanted to share. I'm happy to discuss any further questions or anything that Lacey might have had in mind. If you want to do any Q&A, or if you have anything else you want me to expand on, I'd be glad to.
Yeah, I'd love to have Q&A. I think just, I mean, how you hit on, those are all, I love your Steve quotes. Those are some of my favorites. But I think sometimes people get frustrated with multi-level marketing, or they get frustrated with a bad month, and they forget that, you know, they're here because they love this. And I hear a lot of talk about people saying, well, it's taking too much of my time away from other things. And, you know, not that I don't think there's some, you know, we talked about that too at Elite Retreat, but some sense of balance somewhere. But the truth of the matter is I think, you know, when you're following your heart and doing what you love, sort of the bad guys will come out of the woodwork to try to fight against you sometimes. So you have to be willing to sort of do it anyways. I feel like, you know, a lot of times in the beginning, people are like, oh, you can't make that successful. It's not, it won't, you know, the naysayers. And then when you start to see it, they see it start to be successful, then they start to jump in or they don't, and then they get more belligerent. I don't know. It's funny because there's constantly a battle with other people of like, are you going to do this? Or are you not going to do this? Or why aren't you giving me more money if you're doing that well with this? Or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to have naysayers, and they might even be really well-meaning, well-intentioned people that you love the most, your family, your friends. They're like, oh, no, you're not going down that path. Uncle Bob did network marketing 20 years ago, and you know how that ended for him. And, there's people that they have good intentions. They're afraid you're going to be brainwashed or drink some weird Kool-Aid or something. And you can respect that and say, thanks for loving me enough to give me that warning, but I know what I'm doing. And I just suggest you don't take business advice from people who haven't been successful in a network marketing business. So you can take personal advice from them, but I use my dad as an example because I love my dad. He's a farmer and I have huge respect for him. He's actually just recently retired from farming, but I wouldn't ask him for network marketing advice. Like, he knows me, and he was concerned and said, are you sure this is what you want to do? I thought you had these other dreams, or, things he remembered me saying when I was younger or whatever. And I said, Dad, I appreciate you and I love you and thank you. But, I'm going to take my business advice from people who've been successful at what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So I'm going to listen to people like Tanya and my enroller and some of her upline and other successful network marketing people. I'm going to read books about that, and I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to do this. And thank you for caring enough about me, but I'm not gonna listen to that, that voice saying, I don't think this is what you're meant to do, or you're going to regret this, or, because I knew where he was coming from. But again, he's not built a successful network marketing business. So I'm not going to take network marketing business advice from him. And I take all kinds of other advice from him, spiritual and personal, and lots of wisdom there. But I encourage you to do that. Look at the person who's giving you advice and think, have they built a successful network marketing business? Maybe I should also talk to my upline about these concerns. Maybe there's some valid concerns, but instead of just talking to your friends and family who maybe really don't know anything about doTERRA, talk to your upline. We can address those same concerns, and we've been farther down the path. So we can show you, we understand those concerns and those questions and the whole network marketing stigma. But if you haven't read For Your Career, if you haven't read Dare to Dream, Work to Win, some of those are Go Pro, another great one. Those are great books, and there's great podcasts and videos to go along with them, like Eric Worre, who wrote Go Pro. Plug into some of that, because that'll really build your belief in network marketing and help you combat some of that naysaying. Another thing you can think to yourself when you're looking at a naysayer is, okay, great, you don't want me to do network marketing. I totally get that. Do you have another option for me? Here's my why. I want to pay off my mortgage and my college loans. Are you going to just pay those off for me so I don't have to do network marketing? Or you have another plan for me to reach my why? Because I'm all ears if you have some other great plan for me to get out of debt or to whatever it is. Thanks, Mom. I would love to know what your plan is. And if you want to just pay it off for me, then, maybe I won't do network marketing, but they're not going to do that, And so just to be realistic about it, and to, again, go back to building your belief, because you will have negativity, you will have obstacles, and you will have naysayers. So it's a good point to be prepared for that.
Yeah, I think you're at a good point when basically when you hear those things, all it makes you want to do is dig your heels in and get it done. That's where you want to be.
Absolutely. And just tell yourself, I will show you one day.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because, even just generally, the people who have the most advice are generally the people who are the ones with the least amount of success under their belts, no matter if it's network marketing or any kind of business. So it's interesting.
Well, sadly, on that line of thought, sometimes those people actually don't want you to be successful.
Right.
Because they don't want you to be, quote unquote, better than them, even though you might never think of yourself that way. They don't want you to leave their small town or have a, nicer anything than they do, or think you're better than them. And there is that. That's very prevalent too, where people think, what, you think you're better than us? You think you don't need this kind of career? You don't need to live in this town, or what? Or you think I'm not successful, so you're going to go do something else that's more successful? You might hear that from like coworkers or family as well. And there really is that mindset out there where success is a bad thing, and people who are successful are evil. People who are building wealth are all evil. And we have to overcome that if we've been raised with that. We were raised with barely enough and sometimes not enough, and relying on the government if our crops got hailed out, or like one year our house burned down. And it was definitely faith building, but there's no building of wealth to show for it. And I do want a different future for my kids and my grandchildren. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think fighting those feelings of, yeah, exactly. Like if I'm poor, then I'm honorable and upstanding, and there's something about that. Yeah, and I know it's a hard thing to overcome because that's where I came from too. And I didn't have a bad childhood. We had a great childhood, and I cherish most of that, like scrapping things together to have a good time kind of thing. But at the same time, it's not necessarily what I want for the future.
Yeah.
I want to go on a Viking River cruise. That's what I want to do.
That's awesome. I love your dreams, Lacey. That's great.
Well, I mean, that's just one thing.
Yeah. I know, one of many. Put that on your vision board.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks, Crystal. That was awesome. If anybody on the call has questions, we can wait for a little bit longer. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the main thing, is keep these inspirations ahead of you instead of looking back at where you're coming from. Most of us are coming, I think, from not a state of wealth. And so it's hard for us to, at least most of the people I know on my team are, dealing with struggling financially. And even thinking outside of that is difficult, let alone.
Yeah.
Like I did a business overview, and you look at the chart and it goes, 1,000, 4,000, 8,000, 35, 100,000. And it's like a joke. It's like laughable, but.
Yeah. Well, and along those lines too, I think we often prejudge people because we think most people probably can afford what we were able to afford, or most people can probably do what we're able to do. And so we look around and, we look at people who we think need money, or, need a financial opportunity, or we think nobody's going to be able to afford more than a home essentials kit, because that's what I started with. And so sometimes, even though you think, well, I come from a place of poverty and I'm very humble and honorable, you might have some judgments in you that you don't realize are there until you start having to face them, and they're really ugly. And you might realize, I have been judging people who have more than I do, or I judge wealthy people, or I just assume no one can afford more than I could, or, that I could never attract someone who is already successful to my business. And I encourage you to look for those people who are already influential, already successful, already doing well in some way or another. And it may not look like financial wealth, but they're a really hardworking teacher, for example, and they have worked hard to stay out of debt, or, anything like that you look at and think, oh, they don't need this opportunity. They don't need this business. Slap yourself for that and say, I'm going to talk to everyone, because I don't know. I can't judge who needs this. And maybe if they're already even wealthy, maybe that means they have a great mind for business, and they know how important this is, and they know how important streams of income are, and they would be interested in being able to step away from that $500,000 a year job that makes them work 80 hours a week or whatever. So just a few, things, again, food for thought. And I don't remember the name of the book. I'm going to have to ask Tanya, my enroller, our Blue Diamond, Tanya Cottrell, just told me about a book by Dave Ramsey that she's like, I've never really read any of his books before. I mean, his stuff is great, but he came out with a new book that has something to do with legacy. And he really addresses, she said, in a really great way, some of these mindsets of what wealth means, what poverty means, who is honorable, who's not. And that's very prevalent in our culture. Here it is. It's called The Legacy Journey. And she said it's really been mind-blowing for her, and it's something she wants to start teaching to her team, so we can maybe all benefit from that. But I definitely want to pick up the book and look at that, because I know there's still some of those mindsets I grew up with that are ingrained in me, about what that looks like and what that means and what kind of person you are, and if it's selfish to want to leave a legacy for your children and those kind of things. So this business will make you grow so much as a person. It's about so much more than oils, and the oils are amazing. The business opportunity is amazing, but the personal growth is really what's going to make its mark on you. And you're going to pass that on to your kids. And I love that our kids are learning what it means to be hardworking and passionate and to find what you love to do and to be able to do that and still be able to give back and be very generous as well. So yeah, that's another good point to
Yeah, actually, I posted a
at.
quote the other day. I'm going to find it and share it because it's really good, and it's kind of just in the forefront of my mind. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was well received because I think as mothers, especially, we feel like we don't need to give up time with our families. Like we just are always torn in all these different directions. And, we talk about the legacy of wealth, but one legacy is also, what we do with ourselves and how we, what we're passionate about. And the quote is, I found it, is, it's not only children who grow, parents do too. And as much as we watch to see what our children will do with their lives, they're watching us to see what we do with ours. I can't tell my children to reach for the sun. All I can do is reach for it myself. And I just
That's awesome.
Pretty powerful because,
it is very powerful.
So
yeah, they're watching, and we have gifts in us that we don't necessarily have to stop using. Yes, motherhood is sacrifice, and we have sacrifices we have to make. And when my kids were really small, I realized that, but I also needed to make money to pay the bills and to be able to stay home with them. And so I utilized gifts that I had and found ways to do for me. I had another network marketing business, but even that wasn't always enough. So I continued to edit books freelance on the side. I continued to do things like that were using gifts and training I had so that I could be home with them. And they saw me doing those kind of things. And I think it's really great, that they're watching us grow and they're watching us reach for higher goals and not just survive the day. That's going to inspire them and challenge them as they grow up. So that's an awesome quote. I love that. I may have to have you send that to me.
Well, I think it's too, some of us are beyond the child rearing stages, so we don't have to think about that as much, but it is important, I think, too, to think about how us just doing what we love influences the people around us to think about what they're doing, even if it's not the oils, but to stop just sitting there and accepting whatever they've been dealt and take charge. So anyway, there's so many levels of what doing the right thing for yourself is good for everyone, not just you. So.
Yeah, and if you're beyond child rearing, you've still got another generation looking at you and, defining what does it mean to be the person of that age or whatever, and looking at, you can continue to grow and to build a business no matter what age you are. Somebody could start this the day they turn 18 and pay for college through it. Somebody could start this the day they retire from a job and supplement retirement income and still, be able to have more to pass on to their children from that point. So, so that's a good point too. It doesn't matter, what age you are, even though a lot of us on our team might be 30 something with small kids. There's a lot of people of all different backgrounds and ages now coming into this and finding again what their why is and how this can help them to reach that.
Absolutely. Well, yay. That was great. I'm inspired.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'll do this. I'll keep doing it. Why not?
Absolutely. I'd love to join you more often.
I know. This is fun. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I'll have it recorded and I'll post a link. I don't think there was anything we need to worry about not being shareable. So anyway, all right. Have a great night. Talk to y'all later.
Thanks. You
Bye,
too.
Crystal.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Thanks.